And of course, it will also provide resources to invest in essential infrastructure in mining communities. It will provide a $6 billion regional infrastructure fund. That's very important for mining communities under stress as the industry grows. As a Queenslander, I know only too well the stresses and strains placed on mining communities by very rapid development in places like Gladstone, where I'm heading tomorrow. We do need to attend to these capacity constraints, particularly in our mining sector, if we wish to create wealth sustainably and if we wish to grow sustainably. That's very important as well. But it's not just investment in infrastructure, but the government is moving to further investment in nation building through infrastructure. The government's plans in terms of national broadband, the national broadband network, is a very significant nation building project put in place to further strengthen and to broaden our economy. The NBN is going to be the largest infrastructure project in the nation's history, which will bring enduring benefits socially and economically. It's difficult to conceive of all of those benefits, but let's just run through some of them. A massive expansion in people working from home, greater efficiency for our transport assets, fewer wasted hours, easier for businesses to commercialise their products, and of course easier for people to compete in export markets, just to name a few of the benefits. And what they add up to through the NBN is a massive boost to our productivity growth. A massive boost to our productivity growth that is absolutely essential, on the one hand, to cope with the ageing of our population, and on the other, to increase our productivity as we go forward and to make us more internationally competitive. And of course, the government, through revenue from the mining tax, will also invest in making sure that all businesses in the country are more competitive. A mining boom brings with it challenges as well as opportunities. And one of the challenges that comes from a mining boom is that there is more demand for labour, from the mining industry taking away from other industries. The dollar will tend to be higher rather than lower. All of these things have competitive implications for all businesses in our economy. So the government has said, as part of its response to the independent tax inquiry, we need to make all of our businesses more competitive, given these challenges. That is why the government is using some of the revenue from the mining tax to lower the corporate rate of taxation, the company rate, but also to give a very significant boost to small business, which can find life tough even in the middle of a mining boom, because what you can have is a 2-speed or 3-speed economy. So the government is progressing with this reform as part of our plan to broaden and strengthen our economy, and very much doing it in the tradition of those other reforms that I was talking about before. And of course, the government has embarked on fundamental reform in 2 other critical areas as well. The reform of our health system, very important in dealing with the challenges of an ageing population, ensuring that it is financially sustainable over time and that there is attention to quality in the system. The education revolution, fundamental reforms in that area, and I won't go through them. The point I want to make is that this Labor government has a fundamental reform agenda to strengthen and broaden our economy as we go forward, built on a platform of strict fiscal discipline. But the aim of both of those objectives, or the end result of both of those objectives, is to produce prosperity, which then flows through to our citizens. What we have to ensure is that the enduring gains of the prosperity do flow through to working people. And of course, that is the third battleground for this election year, delivering tangible benefits for average Australians. And of course, we have been doing that. We're doing that through what we're doing in terms of retirement incomes. I mentioned before, increasing the pool of national savings. But what these initiatives mean for someone who is a 30-year-old today, through our changes to superannuation, through the additional monies that we are giving to low-income earners, a 30-year-old today will have an additional $108,000 in their retirement pool when they retire. This gives people more choice about the future. It's not just a question of money. So working to fix up the type of concessions that are provided in superannuation, addressing the imbalance in those concessions, providing an additional boost to low-income earners, is a very fundamental reform of the end result of someone's retirement income pool. Very important reform for the future. And of course, the government has announced further changes in terms of simplifying the personal taxation system, putting in place an optional standard tax deduction worth $500 in 2012-13 and $1,000 in 2013-14. These are all benefits which deliver enduring gains to working people. In particular, the tax cut which is going to small businesses, 2.4 million small businesses will be able to write off up to $5,000 any asset purchased for their business. A very significant boost to small business and simplification that comes with all of that. And of course, most fundamentally, the reforms that we've put in place to get rid of work choices and put in place a fair and balanced industrial relations system. These are all very important reforms to ensure that our prosperity is fairly shared and that all people get to participate in the bounty of our great country. That is what this government has been about in the reforms that it has put in place. Now, as we move forward, Australia is in a position of strength. I'm very optimistic about the future of our economy and about the future of our society. Very optimistic indeed. We start from very strong foundations. As most other advanced economies move forward, many are wading through the rubble of prolonged and high unemployment and immense capital destruction that has occurred as a consequence of the global recession. Because our government put in place a suite of policies to cushion the impact of that global recession on our economy, unemployment is lower, our deficits are lower, and we are in a stronger position to maximise opportunities which will flow from growth in our region as we move forward. And that's what our recent budget was about. Putting in place a raft of policies which will ensure the economy grows sustainably and which will deal with the challenges that we need to face as we move forward. On the one hand, the ageing of the population through health reform, the ageing of the population through national superannuation reform. On the other hand, investing in fundamental infrastructure to ensure that our growth is sustainable, investing in businesses by cutting company rates to make our businesses more competitive. There are great opportunities ahead for Australia. Because we are in the Asian region, the Asian region or the Asia Pacific will contribute a far greater proportion of global growth as we move forward. This will bring fantastic opportunities to our country. Our challenge is, as we move forward, to put in place those policies which not only create the wealth, but also spread the opportunity from it, so we become a more prosperous and fairer society at the same time. This will go to the core of our debate as we move forward towards the election later this year. There will be a very clear contrast between a Gillard government moving forward with a suite of policies to invest in training and infrastructure, with a suite of policies to protect employment, and our opponents who are going backwards to all the worst aspects of work choices and cuts to health and education. I think that contrast will be clear. It's a contrast and a debate the country needs to have, and it is one which I believe the Australian people are eager to hear. It's been great to talk to you today about the reforms that we've got in place to make our economy more prosperous and fairer for the future. Thank you.